your listening ears on. Continue to eat your breakfast. We are continuing with Esperanza Rising. So we're continuing in the onion chapter because it was a nice long one, remember? We found a good break. So remember Miguel and Alfonso. Excuse me, Kaya. No. Thank you. I love you. I love you. I love you. We're doing this now. Thank you. Okay. Remember, Alfonso and Miguel had planted the roses from.
My bag, it's in my bag, out of the container.
No. Okay.
Even my apple cereal.
So they said, "Didn't I tell you, Papa's heart will find us wherever we go?" The next morning, Hortensia put a piece of fabric over the window and sent Alfonso next door with Miguel, Juan, and the babies. Hortensia, Mama, and Josefina brought in big wash tubs and filled them half full with cold water. Then they heated pots of water on the stove and warmed the bath. Esperanza was excited at the idea of getting into the tub. All they'd done since they arrived was wash their faces and arms with cold water in the sink. She hadn't had a real bath since she left Agua Calientes, but it was Saturday and tonight was the Hamika, so the entire camp was getting cleaned up. Baths were being taken, shirts ironed, hair washed and crimped. Hortensia gave Esperanza her bath since she was a baby, and they'd established a routine. Esperanza stood near the tub with her arms outstretched while Hortensia undressed her. Then she got in the tub and tried not to wiggle while Hortensia washed her. She'd tilt her head back, keep her eyes closed while Hortensia rinsed her hair. Finally, she stood up and nodded, which was Hortensia's signal to wrap the towel around her. Esperanza went to one of the wash tubs, put her hands out to her sides and waited. Josefina looked at Hortensia and raised her eyebrows. Isabel said, "Esperanza, what are you doing?" Mama walked over to Esperanza and said softly, "I've been thinking you were old enough to bathe yourself, don't you think?" Esperanza quickly dropped her arms and remembered Martha's taunting voice saying, "No one will be waiting on you here." "Yes, Mama," she said, and for a second time in 2 days she felt her face burning as everyone stared at her. Hortensia came over, put her arms around Esperanza and said, "We are accustomed to doing things in a certain way, aren't we, Esperanza? But I guess I am not too old to change. We will help each other. I will unbutton the buttons you cannot reach, and you will help Isabel, yes? Josefina will need more hot waters in the tubs. Andale, hurry." As Hortensia helped her with her blouse, Esperanza whispered, "Thank you." Isabel and Esperanza went first, bathing in the tubs, then bending their heads over to wash their hair. Mama and Josefina poured cups of water over them to rinse off the soap. The women took turns going back and forth to the stove for hot water. Esperanza liked being with all of them in the tiny room, talking and laughing, rinsing out each other's hair. Josefina and Hortensia talked about all the gossip in the camp. Mama sat in her slip and combed out Isabel's tangles. The women took their turns, and when Hortensia needed hot water, Esperanza rushed to get it before anyone else could. Clean and dressed with still wet hair, Isabel and Esperanza went outside to the wooden table under the trees. Josefina had given them a burlap bag of almonds that she wanted shelled. Isabel bent over and brushed her hair in the dry air. "Are you coming to the Hamika tonight?" she asked. Esperanza didn't answer at first. She'd not left the cabin since she'd made a fool of herself yesterday. "I don't know, maybe. My mama said it's best just to get it over with and face people, and if they tease you, you should just laugh," said Isabel. "I know," said Esperanza, fluffing her own hair that was already almost dry. She dumped the nuts out onto the table and picked up an almond still in its flattened pod. The soft and fuzzy outside hull looked like two hands pressed together, protecting something inside. Esperanza popped it open and found the almond shell. Thank you, those of you who are listening and not trying to distract their neighbors. She snapped the edges of the shell and pried it apart, then pulled the meat from its defenses and ate it. So the meat of the almond is just the actual nut that you would eat. That's what they're talking about when they say pulled the meat from the shell. Okay, the meat of the nut is the actual nut part that you eat. "I suppose Martha will be here tonight." "Probably," said Isabel, "and all of her friends too." "How does she know English?" "She was born here, and her mother too." They are citizens, said Isabel, helping shell almonds. Her father came from Sonora during the revolution. Samuel. They have never even been to Mexico. There's lots of kids who live in our camp who've never been to Mexico. My father doesn't like it when Martha comes to our hamakas, though, because she's always talking to people about striking. There was almost a strike during almonds, but not enough people agreed to stop working. We would have to go to the orchard and shake the trees ourselves for those almonds. Oh, my mama said if there'd been a strike, we would have to go to the orchard and shake the trees ourselves for those almonds. So, do you guys know what a strike is? What's a strike? What does it mean when they say they're going to strike?
A bowling strike?
No, not a strike in bowling.
A strike is about like doing something.
Okay,
I agree with that.
like doing something. Can anybody build on that a little bit? Come up with something. Amy?
Like when they clean, they get stragglers.
Not quite.
Taking something serious.
Okay, so we're kind of on the right track when it comes to like building something or taking something serious. Do you have anything to add, Phoebe? No. Like an attack? Okay, so a strike could also mean an attack, but in this case, that's not what it means. Okay, just like a strike could also mean something in bowling, and there's different meanings for the word strike. When you're talking about a strike, when it comes to work, it means that they are saying we want better working conditions, or we want better pay, or we want better, and they are just and they're standing there refusing to work.
What's better pay?
Better pay means they get paid better money.
Better pay. I can't hear over here.
Sorry, pay.
Okay.
Pay with a P. Better money. They earn better money. If you absolutely need to go, if you can wait, please do. But okay, so better pay or better working conditions. Same goes for you, Amy. You don't need to interrupt me 15 times. Then go. Okay, so it means that they're saying, we don't think that our working conditions are fair. Like you work us too hard for too long for too little money. Or we also deserve, how they were saying that some of the camps might have hot water, right? And others don't. And they say that they don't like the people to talk because they don't want to know which camp. They don't want them to know that some of the camps might have hot water. Like some of the people are treated a little bit better. They don't want them to know that. So anyway, when you strike, that's when they refuse to work until they're hoping to get what they want. They're hoping that they would get better working conditions or better pay or something like that. Troy, I'm tired of being interrupted. I just said that to 3 different people. If you absolutely need to go, go. If you can wait, please do. Please don't interrupt me anymore. Then we were lucky. What is your mother making with these nuts? Flan de almendra, said Isabel. She will sell slices at the hamaka tonight. Esperanza's mouth watered. Almond flan was one of her favorite sweets. Then I've made my decision. I will come. What?
You gotta look that up, how to say that.
Yeah, well, do you know how to say it?
I don't know.
Spanish. It's not how to say it in English. It's how to say it in Spanish because that's a Spanish phrase. So that would be the question, is how to say it in Spanish. Okay, I guess we are done for now.
Did anyone bring a survey?
Amy.
If you got your survey, give them